Welcome back, everybody. Appalachian Trail Summer 2025, day number 14. Another scorcher supposed to be happening today. So, made some logistical decisions last night. I still want to make forward progress, so that is what we are going to do. So, let's get to the logistics first. And then I want to talk about what happened after yesterday's hike, and then what's going to be going down going forward. So today we are out for a 7.8 mile day. And if you all remember, yesterday I ended a 10.3 mile day at the co-op in Hannaford. And today I am starting at 3 Mile Road, and I am hiking south 7.8 miles back to the co-op. So looking at the logistics last night, it just made sense to kind of make it a southbound day. That way I could get up to the road and get back down and still get some miles in, but get south back to the co-op and get back to our campground sometime this afternoon. So I am started about a mile back at mile marker 1,764.5, and I am hiking south back to, let me pull this up here, the co-op, which is mile marker 1,756.7. So a southbound day today. The heat, this is supposed to be the last day of the heat. And y'all, the heat has been intense. That's all I'm going to say. Very, very intense. And yesterday, ending at the co-op, walking on the road for 2.5 miles was absolutely amazing because I crossed over the New Hampshire line and we are officially in New Hampshire. But man, that was intense. So when I finished up yesterday, before I get to that, let me do this and get ahead of myself. Today is 1,000 feet of ascent and 1,900 feet of descent. So shouldn't be too bad of a day on this last heat advisory day. The temperatures start changing back to some normalcy tomorrow. So we will pick up and move forward north tomorrow. But for today, going southbound back to the van. And let me back up to the end of the day yesterday. Ended at the co-op, and y'all, I almost lost it yesterday. It was so warm walking through Hannaford. And that's where I just had to put my mental capacity helmet on. And I just kept thinking I was in an ice bath walking that last mile. And then got back in the van and we actually went to McDonald's. I said, I have got to have McDonald's ice cream, McDonald's French fries, McDonald's, all the things. And y'all have not eaten major junk food like that in a while, over a year. And it was fantastic. That's all I'm going to tell you. So we got to McDonald's and I keep forgetting I have this southern accent and we are way north. And I walked into McDonald's and I saw on the sign, it said now hiring $18 an hour. And we walked in and it was so cold in there. And I just told the lady at the counter, I said, I am so grateful for the air conditioning. And she said, we're glad you are because a lot of people complain about it. I said, I'm not complaining about it. And I'm also not going to complain at your $18 an hour sign. And she got, honey, with that accent, we'll hire you today. So I actually got behind the counter and I was like, welcome to McDonald's, y'all. Thanks for joining us. I said, I can do customer service. And man, she just cracked up. So she even cracked up when I was placing my order because I think I still had trail brain because instead of my 2 hamburgers and a large fry, I ended up ordering a chicken sandwich. And they had 5 or 6 chicken sandwiches, and she's like, honey, do you want the 4A, the 4B? And I said, oh my God, I have no idea. I said, just a chicken sandwich with pickles and a large fry and a large Diet Coke. And she was like, that's a 4A. And I said, the largest ice cream cone you can make. And she just cracked up laughing. But anyway, we had the greatest time at McDonald's. She brought out our ice cream early, and I tore up that ice cream cone even before she brought out the rest of the order. And we chilled out at McDonald's. I said, oh my God, you know you are freaking weird where you could have the greatest time of your life in a McDonald's. And that's what we did, and it was awesome. And, you know, you could just make lemonade out of lemons wherever you go. And that was the theme of yesterday afternoon. So, y'all, we are moving on. I probably got 6.5 miles to do back to the co-op. And who knows what'll happen this afternoon after I get done for the day. But tomorrow, the plan is to move forward, going north and working our way toward Mount Mooselock and moving forward into the Whites. And that is an amazing feeling. Again, I have a whole plan for the Whites, and I'm going to do a separate episode on that. And that'll be the episode that gives you the full plan and the logistics of what I plan on doing. And it is already set in stone. So there you have it, folks. Moving and grooving. And I'll be back here shortly. All right, y'all. Just wanted to come back. I meant to tell you guys this yesterday and I forgot. So I have been this is the 3rd day now, the heat wave, been carrying at the start 4 liters of water. And my average has been, I've been drinking with electrolytes, full of electrolytes, no just plain water, all with Noon or Propel. And about every 3.5 to 4 miles, I have been going through 2 liters of water. And I am completely soaked from sweat. I mean, it looks pretty much like, everybody's like this, looks pretty much like you've wet your pants in sweat. So, yeah, the water situation is a real thing. And whenever I see water, I just take my Be Free and I fill up. I do not pass up water. So that is not normal, because typically on a regular day, say it's going to be 65, 70, I'll go through 2 liters of water every 8 to 9 miles. So 2 liters of water every 3 to 4 miles. It's hot, folks. So do not pass up water when you see it on trail. Typically, I don't pass up water ever, unless I know, you know, in another mile or so, there's more water, or whatever the logistical circumstance there may be. But just to give you a perspective on how warm it is, 2 liters of water every 3 to 4 miles. And I'm just drinking, I'm literally just holding a water bottle and drinking it as I go. That's just the way it's been the last few days. That's why the mileage has been lower, and I don't really care about the miles anyway. As long as I'm making forward progress, I am good. I've talked to, since I'm going southbound, I've seen some northbound through hikers, and they're in the same boat. One guy I just talked to, he through hiked in 2022, and now he's through hiking again in 2025. And we were talking about coming into Hanover, or into New Hampshire, into Hanover yesterday, and the heat that was beating down on us when we were walking on that road. He said he stopped in Hanover at a coffee shop and sat there pretty much all afternoon, and then walked out to the trail and put up his tent. And I was like, I do not blame you. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. doing very little miles and then getting to a place where you can either hang out in the air conditioning or put up your tent in the shade and just kind of chill out. So anyway, the weather is supposed to break after today, and I know there will be a lot of happy hikers out here once this weather breaks. And y'all, there's a break in the trail here. Got to figure out which way to go. All right, here we go. Anyway, happy trails, everybody. It's still a great day, even though it's muggy. Oh, and the mosquitoes today, they are out for freaking blood. I have not put on my pee rag yet, but I've lathered up a couple times in DEET. And right now I smell like an old motor oil gas station. I was like, oh my God, I smell like a gas station so bad. Anyway, all right, y'all, I'll be back. All right, y'all, I had to pop back on here and tell you this story. I just went through this boggy area where I actually felt like I was at the Highland Games doing log roll, and the mud was so deep, I'd put my pole down and it would go over halfway through my pole, and you had no choice but to step on each log or tree stump, that's really what they were, and hope you didn't sink or fall over. And it wasn't long. I mean, it was maybe 7 or 8 logs. And then you could just hope and pray that you would not be sucked into the mud a foot. But that's where I decided all that core work I did over this last 10 months really paid off, because I didn't really have an issue in one of the logs. I mean, it started to turn and I said, oh my God, I'm going to fall into the abyss. And it's just going to be like my hand sticking out for help. Anyway, we made it through and received the gold medal from the Highland Games. That happened in Western North Carolina. I think it's the Highland Games. Anyway, number 1 log roller, Julie Jester Gayhart. I'll be back. All right, back to close out day 14. I just climbed up to my last climb of the morning or of the day to a place called Velvet Rocks. And it reminds me of Frozen Head State Park. It reminded me of a trail. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. I think it's called Chimney Trail. And y'all, Frozen Head State Park, the Great Smoky Mountains, Western North Carolina, it's all good training grounds for coming up to Vermont, New Hampshire. The Whites is its own thing. So I was just remembering Frozen Head State Park and how tough the trails are at that park. And that is where the Barkley Marathons is held every year. And sadly, I did not get a chance. My plan was I was going to go to Frozen Head over my spring break, but that did not happen. But I've done all the trails there before. I would love to go back and do them again. But that's for another time. That climb up Velvet Rocks just reminded me of being in Frozen Head State Park. But y'all, we've got about 1.8 miles pretty much down to the co-op, and then we will be done for today. So we started this morning at 3 Mile Road, and we are going south back to Hanover for a 7.8 mile day. And then tomorrow I will go back to 3 Mile Road and head north. I think tomorrow is an 11.2 mile day, and tomorrow is a special day as well. Again, they're all special, but tomorrow has some really special meaning to me, and I will go over all of that tomorrow. So y'all, when I end today, we are 416.7 miles from Katahdin. So moving and grooving along and feeling good. So as always, y'all, truly appreciate you listening. Be safe out there and happy section hiking.